Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, whatever time of the day you decide to watch this. It's all good. Good day. I'm back for another Three Little Pigs story. We've read quite a few this week already. We've read 3. We've been reading some fractured fairy tales. Kind of learned what that word meant yesterday. Fractured fairy tale is a fairy tale that is the same idea of the story, but they've changed some of the characters or setting, or something's different about it. We read the 3 Little Super Pigs on Monday. We read the 3 Little Aliens and the Big Bad Robot on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday we read the 3 Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig. So today, and those all had similarities and differences. They were all a little bit different, but you knew they were designed after the original 3 Little Pigs story. So this story is a little bit different because instead of hearing the 3 Little Pigs told by a narrator, so that means it's someone else telling the story, this one's told by one of the characters, and it is told by the Big Bad Wolf. So, or a wolf is his name. So this is called The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs by A. Wolf. And it is told by John Scieszka, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right, I'm sorry. And illustrated by Lane Smith. If you remember reading in kindergarten Smash Crash or any of the truck stories that we read in small groups, this is the same author that wrote all of those. So that's pretty cool that you can, I like to be able to compare stories or look back and just know that it's the same person that wrote them. So here's our title page, The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs. We know that sometimes we can always get a hint on the title page from the picture. Not always, but sometimes. But here's our little hint that we have. This is by A. Wolf, so he's going to be our narrator. He's the one telling the story. But look at the picture. There's a brick there, and it looks like a measuring cup with some straw and some sticks inside the measuring cup. So, straw and sticks and bricks, those are in the 3 Little Pig stories a lot, but I don't know about the measuring cup. We'll have to see what that means. I might have to take a drink of water. I ate a cookie, and now I feel like I've got too many sweets today. All right, everybody knows the story of the 3 Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. This is the wolf talking. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. I never thought of it like that. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. So he even drew us a picture here. Here's a sneeze. That's a nose. What happens when you sneeze? Yeah, pretty good drawing of what happens when you sneeze. Whatever comes out of the nose. And then this is where that measuring cup is. A cup of sugar. So that's what he says this all started with a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Here we go. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. Look at the ingredients he has in there so far. This is a cake for his granny, for her birthday. I see eggs and I see maybe flour and sugar, but what else do you see? I know, there's little bunny ears in there. So, wolves, that's what they eat. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. So now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? We were kind of questioning the same thing, right? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called out, little pig, are you in?" There was no answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar from my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, and achoo! That's a big sneeze. I do some big sneezes, but that's big sneeze. And I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like such a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just laying right there in the straw, so I ate him up. Think of it as a big old cheeseburger just laying there. Because that's what wolves eat, right? All right, I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next little neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house, and nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. Grab the doorknob. I huffed and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Oh no, what happened? And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. That's what people say when they want you to believe them. Wolf's honor. Scout's honor. That's what they say. Now, you know, food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do, and I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting pretty full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better. But I still didn't have a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. You got it. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you want to know what the rude little guy said to me? "Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again." It's not how it goes in the original story, right? Ooh. Look at him peeking out his window. He looks awfully mean. He might be friends with the big bad pig. Talk about impolite. Poor wolf. Doesn't feel good. Pig is being mean to him. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I just was about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake, but I felt my cold coming on, and I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again, and then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." They're not being very kind to him. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. Does he look like he's going crazy? When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and I was puffing and I was sneezing and I was really making a big scene. And the rest, as they say, is history. So, and then all the rest of the stories, the wolf gets caught at the end, right? Yeah, so that's how he's saying that's how he got caught. The news reporters found out about the two little pigs that I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up that story a little bit with all the huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe, could you loan me a cup of sugar? The end. So, we got to see another story for the Three Little Pigs from someone else's perspective. We got to hear how the wolf thought he was being treated in that story. So my question is, now that you've heard the wolf story, who do you believe? Do you think that the pigs were really sweet and kind the whole time, and they just were trying to get away from the wolf? Or do you think that the wolf was framed? Do you think that he was the nice guy and he just needed to borrow a cup of sugar and things just kept happening? He didn't do anything. So think about who do you believe? Would you believe the wolf or would you believe the Three Little Pigs? And then you can you can write down on a piece of paper, draw a picture of who you believe. So you're either going to draw a picture of the wolf or you're going to draw a picture of the Three Little Pigs. And then write a sentence about why you believe them. Why you think they're telling the truth. We were talking about this story is all about integrity. And so who do you think has the most integrity? Who is telling the truth? And you can share that with your teachers. So have fun with that and ask your family maybe too. Who do you think? Who do you believe? Do you think it's the wolf or the Three Little Pigs? All right. See you next time. Bye.